Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. I want to thank all of those who have subscribed to my channel and pushed us to reach the 10K milestone. This journey is just beginning, and I can't wait to share more true encounters and clips with you all. If you have an encounter story that you would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I'd be honored to share your story with like-minded people. Now sit back and relax as we begin with today's episode. This takes place in the fall of 2001-2002. The exact location is not given, but anywhere 100 kilometers north of Montreal is nothing but little lakes and thick forest. As a young teen, I had a very strange situation in the woods. I'm not sure if this encounter may have been some kind of entity or perhaps something different. I hope someone can give me more information about what happened to me and my friend. I was around 12 years old at the time, and one of my best friends, let's call him Alex, must have been around 10. Alex's father had purchased a large amount of forested land around 100 kilometers away from the city we lived in, Montreal, Canada. It was all forested when Alex's family acquired it. They cleared a little patch to build a house, and the rest was pure, unadulterated forest. Their land was cut in two by a dirt road. If you followed it for several kilometers, it led to a few houses, and their land was very different depending on which side of the road you were on. On the right side, where their house was, the forest was light and luminous, or at least it felt that way. It was not too dense, with little rolling hills, a lovely place to play. On the left side of the road, though, was a different story. First, there was a deep ditch, perhaps 2 meters deep, which then became quite high and a steep hill. Weirdly enough, all along the long road, the ditch was full of car parts. A set of car wheels here, a door there, a steering wheel over there, all old and overgrown with moss. And over the steep hill, the forest gave off a really bad vibe. It had lots of very tall, dark coniferous trees with almost black trunks, and the place seemed somehow devoid of light or life. Climbing the hill, which we seldom were willing to do because of the creeps it gave us, there was some sort of swamp there. When we were there, there was a strange pressure. We sensed a kind of internal instinct that told us to leave this place. The strange atmosphere was spontaneously obvious to both me and Alex, and we playfully called this side of the road Demon's Forest. One weekend, probably in 2001 or 2002, my family and I came to visit Alex's family. Bored by the adults, my friends and I decided to go and play in the forest. Alex's father told us to watch out. There was an animal that had been rummaging in their trash bin and causing other nuances. He said it was a dog that looked somewhat like a Rottweiler that surely belonged to someone living up the dirt road. He warned us that we shouldn't interact with the dog if we saw it, as it didn't look healthy as far as he could tell, or something was weird about it. He said it somehow looked diseased or contagious, or had patches of missing fur. Can't remember exactly. We set out on our walk. It was autumn and the leaves were pretty and golden, many having fallen to the ground. It was calm, slightly overcast, windless day. The air was very still and calm. Alex and I decided to walk along the dirt road, with the pleasant section of the forest to the right and the Demon's Forest to the left. We chatted a while following the road as it was rising up a slope. As usual, we were slightly creeped out going up the road because of the weird vibes of the forest to the left side. But we were challenging ourselves to be brave and trying not to really think about how unsettling it felt. We were a good distance away from their home when it was already well out of sight. I noticed the first strange thing of the day. Out of the steep hill on the left side of the road, there was a very large and dark pine tree hanging over the road. Somebody had attached a pink ribbon to one of the branches, which was already strange since this was the territory of Alex's family, and they had no daughters or other little girls likely to hang around, or other people who may be owners of pink ribbons who were likely to hang out on this deserted road. The strange thing was the ribbon was flailing strongly in the wind. Its loose ends were flapping almost horizontally. As I previously mentioned, it was a completely windless day. There was no wind to speak of. As we approached the ribbon, it was within my reach, so I reached out and touched it as it was flailing around. I even licked my fingers and held it in the air to check if I could feel the wind or air current at all, as my dad had taught me. The air was perfectly still, yet this ribbon was flailing around by an invisible force. I mentioned it to my friend, but he seemed distracted and was younger than me and sometimes didn't catch on to what I was saying, so I didn't press the matter. We continued our climb. We reached a place where the hill on the left side of the road had a gentler slope and began further away from the road. In fact, it looked as if the hill was kind of carved out in a way that would have made it easy for us to climb to get into the demon's forest. It almost seemed as if the hill was carved in a sloping half circle like a theater, and the road we stood on would have been the stage. It gave us a very clear, treeless view of the hillside, full of golden and red fallen leaves. The trees began at the top of the hill, maybe 9 meters high. We stopped to admire the view. Canadian autumns are a sight to behold. Alex suddenly got really excited. He thought he heard something in the demon's woods up the hill, and he really wanted me to pay attention. He explained that there are wild cats in that forest. They had spotted them with his dad. One of them had reportedly had kittens, and kittens being one of the most exciting things in the world for kids our age, getting us all riled up, but somehow my hackles were up, and I couldn't really relax even thinking about adorable wild kittens. He actually thought he had heard the cat meows in the forest up the hill close by. I heard nothing of the sort and thought he was making it all up. He got really excited and suggested that we try meowing as to see if it would respond. Maybe it would even bring its kittens along and we could see them and play with them, he said. I hadn't heard any sounds at all and didn't really like his idea of screaming meows into this creepy forest. What kind of wild cat would respond to human children anyways? Wouldn't it be obvious that we were not cats by the sounds of us? That seemed like a dumb idea to me. Before I could try to talk him out of it, he'd loudly meowed into the forest. To my utter shock, the forest meowed back. Alex was delighted. He meowed again. Something in the forest answered him again. I was actually shocked. This didn't make any sense to me, and it creeped me out, but I suspended my disbelief to see what would happen. He kept meowing over and over. For every one of his meows, there was one coming back in response from the woods. Something felt off to me. Feral or wild animals didn't behave that way. Even at 12 years old, I realized that. And it wasn't an echo. The cat did not bounce back any sound that we threw at it except meows, which it reciprocated immediately. And anyways, there was no hard rocky surfaces around which sound could bounce back off of. Everything was covered in a soft layer of sound-dulling leaves. Alex got even more excited. Listen, the cat is coming towards us. She's coming to see us with her kittens. To my surprise, he was right. There was a rustle of dead leaves coming from above us, from above the slope in the creepy forest. It seemed like the rustling was getting closer to us. But the sound did not seem right, because cats are small and light and careful with their steps. They don't make a ruckus when they walk through the woods. But here, The rustling leaf sound was extremely obvious, along with the meowing, and in fact, it sounded more like steps, like someone with two legs walking in the leaves, and it was getting closer to us. My alarm signals were starting to go off with the wrongness of it all, while my younger friend was oblivious. He was calling it with more intensity, noticing that it was coming towards us. Then I realized what seemed so wrong. The sound was coming towards us, but there was nothing to be seen. Right in front of us, we had the gently sloping hills, treeless and clearly visible. Anything coming from the forest should have been plainly exposed to view. There was nothing. No source for the rustling sound, nothing moving. Oh, her kittens are joining her. Listen, there are more sounds. They're coming to play with us. He was right. The walking sounds seemed to have multiplied and now came from various different directions at once, ever getting closer with nothing being visible. Something was way off. I wanted to leave, but Alex was getting mad at me. The kittens were almost here and he wanted to see them. He insisted. At this point, it was extremely tense, and a flight or fight feeling was activated within me for the wrongness of it all. We were alone and quite exposed on this theater stage to whatever was getting closer to us, which was, more and more obviously, with every moment, decidedly not kittens. I was on the verge to force him to run home. And then suddenly I heard a very loud panting sound right at my feet. During the first millisecond, I got only mildly surprised. We had a huge husky at home. I was used to it panting next to my feet, but then a sense of profound dread drowned on me as I realized that obviously my dog was not here, and it must be another dog, a very big one by the sounds of it, right at my feet. I panically looked down, ready to jump away from the dog that somehow got extremely close to me, almost on me without me noticing. Only there was absolutely nothing at my feet, but I still hear the loud breathing panting sound coming from there. I whirl around all 360 degrees screaming. Where is it coming from? There is nothing at my feet or anywhere around me. There is nothing there, yet the sound is clearly there. As I whirl about in frenzy, I look up the dirt road we were following. Around 100 meters away of the top of the slope, I see a lone dog standing. It looks somewhat similar to a Rottweiler, but in very, very bad shape, extremely unkempt with patches of fur missing, shaggy and dirty as heck, with some skin exposed where the fur is missing. It's looking down towards us. Obviously, there's no way that I could hear its panting at that distance, and the source of the sound is at my feet. At that point, the flight instinct wins inside me. I have never run as desperately and as fast in my whole life. Thank goodness it was all downhill. Alex kept pace right beside me, terrified. We made it home in one piece. We didn't walk in these woods again. I came back to Alex's place several times in my life. I never wanted to walk in the woods again. We had amazing parties at his house as teens. I was often there rather drunk and having a great time. But I always had this very stressful sensation when I went outside of his house, especially at night. When I slept over there, I had these extremely strange experiences where, when I wake up, I sensed as if something was there and was observing me. In my mid-awake state, I even saw something floating near the ceiling. I had the sensation that it was not an immediate threat, though it was observing. I'm not sure what it was, or if this was related to what happened on the dirt road. We never discussed what happened that day. As I research it now, I see that this land is historically Algonquin land, though one source seems to say it's Mohawk. If anybody can help clarify what happened, I would be thankful. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed this episode today. I did see a request for a Dogman episode, and it's coming. Again, I would like to thank the OC community for getting us to 10K subscribers. Love you all. And lastly, I will be streaming again at the end of this month. The date will be made public soon. I will be posting it in the community section of this YouTube channel. I'm trying to get someone to join us for the stream so that we can interview them. And I'll keep you all posted on the actual date. If these stories reminded you of an encounter that you may have had and would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I'd be honored to share your story on this channel. Thank you all for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out and smash the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. I think there's still about 82% of you guys who have not hit that subscribe button, but yet come back month over month. So just do it. Hit the subscribe button. Now have yourselves a great weekend, and I hope to see you all next week right here on Ontario Cryptids.